Moondog here. Today we'll be reviewing the Feyachi FL46. The Feyachi FL46, a wearable right-angle flashlight. We're going to see how well it works on this episode of Moondog Reviews. Alright, so let's take a look at the FL46 and Feyachi's new packaging, or perhaps it's not. You can see the Feyachi label has been just affixed onto here, and this looks very unlike Feyachi's other product packaging, but maybe you know, if you've seen more recent Feyachi products, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, a little unusual. It's got a little drawstring here and pulls out. It's a little fancier than their other products, and of course there is a user manual. Be sure to read your user manual before using your product. Comes with a little holster sheath, nylon with, is it a molly? No, it's just a regular Velcro strap, but still, I guess you possibly could put it on a molly. I don't know. I'll find out. And here is our flashlight and a charging cable, USB-C, as you can see here. Pardon the pun there. And anything else hidden? Nope. That is it. Alright, that's what you get in the box. Alright, so this is the FL46. And let's take a closer look in this in more detail. Now, overall design and construction, okay, pretty good. It reminds me of like tactical or weapon lights from about 15-20 years ago in the lower base of this tube here. And it's all metal for the most part, including a glass lens here, but the bottom cap is plastic, which gives me a little bit of a pause. And I know this thing is supposed to be IPX4 rated, and that's probably because of this tail cap here. This is actually a plastic piece. This rim feels like it's metal, but they really should have just gone with a silicone cap, even just, you know, covering the end here for durability, because I could see this thing, if you dropped this, this is going to break off if you accidentally drop this while this was open, and it doesn't provide very much waterproof. IPX4 just means that it is light splash proof, so it's not even rain proof. So that's kind of a disappointment. And if they would have put a silicone cap, that could have at least increased your chances of it being rain proof at the very least. All right, but overall design, it's fairly ergonomic. You've got the activation switch right there where you would press it with your thumb if you're holding it thusly. And of course, if you're clipping this on to your pocket or a strap, like a backpack strap or a chest rig, it is positioned in a way that you can still access it from the top if you're, clipping it on to yourself. Interestingly, this is a reverse, two-direction clip here, which I often see with some just straight flashlights, because this allows you to both clip it on your pocket, but also the reverse direction allows you to clip it onto the brim of a baseball cap, though I am not sure if you would find this useful on the brim of a baseball cap, just because of its right angle design would mean that it's basically illuminating your face. Great if you're doing emergency dental work or having it done onto you, but yeah, not sure why you would want a two-direction clip. Leave me a comment if you would find some utility in that. I don't know if I would want to clip it upside down, because then the controls are away from you. And anyway, let's see how well if this thing's actually charged. Yes, it is. Okay, so, and very old school controls. You have to tap through to get to each mode, and there is a strobe which doesn't appear that you can turn off, which could be a deal breaker for some folks. And it cycles through to off, but you can turn it off by just long pressing that. There you go. And let's see if it has mode memory. That's high mode. Turn it off, and let's turn it back on. Nope, it didn't go into strobe. It would have gone to strobe if this had mode memory, but it doesn't. So that's kind of disappointing. In most flashlights nowadays, I expect to have mode memory. And in low mode or regular mode, it's still pretty bright. I would have liked to have a low mode on this. But let's actually put it to some tests and make sure that it's actually outputting what it's saying. Because, just saying it's bright is kind of subjective, and what does that really mean? Alright, so let's start testing this sucker. I recharged the flashlight overnight and then let it run for 30 seconds to warm up the battery chemistry. As you can see, my testing rig is not a NASA-designed scientific instrument, but I have calibrated it to a known 100 lumen lamp. And my initial reading is 101, or 100, and this is at its first brightness mode when you first turn it on. It's regular mode is what the manufacturer calls it. And they state it's 300 lumens, but it looks a bit bright, and it is at 400 lumens, so a bit more than the manufacturer's specs. So I'm going to turn it on to its high mode, which there really isn't that much difference, but the manufacturer states that it's 500 lumens at high mode. So let's see what my readings are. 132, which I calculate to be 528 lumens, pretty much the 500 lumens the manufacturer states, and well within my margin of error. Alright, we see our performance in a typical hallway here. We have the flashlight in its regular mode. It's got an interesting double hotspot in the center there. The center bright area is, I'd say, about 3 feet wide, maybe just a hair under, which is about the width of that door. And then an outer hotspot of about 4 feet. And then, of course, going into the spill, you can see the outer edges of that here. That door is about 10 feet away. And we're going to bump this up to its high mode with not much difference between the two. And my testing, only about 100 lumen difference. And I'll just put the strobe on momentarily and then turn it off because it's annoying. Alright, so we have it on high mode, and we can easily make out the fruit trees 15 feet away, and the wall there 50 feet away, and the hillside we can make out the trees up on the hill 60 feet away, and we can even make out the telephone pole 120 feet away. Industry standard drop tests are from 1 meter or 3 feet. I'm going to drop it from 6 feet twice onto rocks and dirt, so we'll see if it still works. Alright, I've fully recharged this, so we're going to see how long it'll last in its brightest high mode. And we're going to do a time lapse. So in high mode, it stays fairly bright up until about an hour in, and then it starts to dim. So we're over 100 minutes, and the flashlight is no longer brighter than daylight. Alright, so I went outside to go check on it, and it is been over 180 minutes here. But as you can see, it's still on, though quite dim. So I'm going to let it go for a little bit longer, but I'm going to tilt it up here, and we're going to just try to see if the camera can make out. And we'll head back and do more time lapse. Now, while it may look like the flashlight is getting brighter, it's not. It's because it's getting later and darker, and the camera is compensating, and it looks brighter. In fact, at over 300 minutes, I had to stop the test because I could no longer read the timer. And at this point, the flashlight is actually as dim as a candle, so for practical purposes, it's done. Alright, so we've had a chance to test this out, but before I get into what we learned about this flashlight, I'd like to ask a small favor. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons right now. It just takes a second, and it doesn't cost anything to subscribe to this channel. What you're doing is just letting the algorithm know that this is good content, that you like my videos, and that it should recommend them to other folks like you. So please do that, and while you're at it, hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post my next product review. All right, so the FL46. What do I like about it? What is lacking in it? Well, let's start with the good news here. This is a relatively inexpensive and flashlight that outputs as much as it claims, and that's great. What I think is lacking in this is, well, the kind of performance you're getting and the controls, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, are kind of old school, kind of outdated in today's world of high performance flashlights. One, it doesn't have mode memory, and to me that's almost a deal breaker. You have to have mode memory in almost all flashlights that I use as an EDC nowadays. The other thing is that if this was actually to be marketed towards outdoorsmen and hikers and trekkers, yeah, a couple of things that's missing in here. One, it's only IPX4 rated, which means it's only rated for light splashes. And come on, if you're going to be hiking, you need something that at least can survive a typical rain, for example. And heaven forbid you're in a western thunderstorm, you're going to be drenched. And if this thing can't survive, not very useful for taking it out on hiking. And for those who are seriously into the outdoors, two other things that can be problematic. One, this doesn't have a low light or candlelight mode. And for anybody who wants to keep their night vision, you need a low power mode, or else you're going to blind yourself. When you turn off the light, great if you're looking at and especially if you're trying to look at a map, you're in the dark trying to look up your map, you turn this on, even in its regular mode, this could potentially blind you. And once you turn your flashlight off, God help you, you won't be able to see a thing. So having a very low light mode, it kind of goes without saying for anything serious outdoors, it lacks that. So yeah, a little hesitant to recommend it for hiking, but is useful as a toolbox light, or if you're working on your car, having it in the back of your car or as an emergency light could be really helpful, because this allows you to go hands-free. And in that case, perhaps the strobe would be useful as a signaling light for the side of a road. I, again, would have liked a slower strobe setting or just a signal light setting as well as the strobe, but that's just me. So if you are interested in picking one of these up as a toolbox or an emergency car light, I'll include product links in my full written review at moondogindustries.com. Please use those links. It doesn't cost you anything more than if you just Googled it, but I do get a little bit of a commission from Amazon or whoever I post up on those links when you use those links to purchase the product. So again, appreciate that. And if you did enjoy watching this and you got something out of it, please hit that like button and leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. Moondog, out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.